Late in the evening on April 26, 2013, 25-year-old Jessica Heeringer was finishing her shift at the Exxon gas station in the small town of Norton Shores, Michigan. Around 11 o'clock, one of the regular customers stopped by to fill up his car. He inserted the nozzle into the tank and waited for the fuel to start flowing, which was activated by the attendant from inside. But for some reason, the gasoline never started flowing. The man decided to go inside and find out what was going on. He entered the building, and what he discovered there, or rather what he didn't discover, made him dial the number. The dispatcher is sending a patrol unit to the gas station marked as a suspicious situation. Soon the police arrived at the scene. They spoke with the man who had called and contacted the gas station owner, reporting that there were no employees at the workplace, the doors to the building were open, and the lights were on inside. The manager was called to the gas station, and together with the police they inspected the building. In the staff room, Jessica's jacket was found, as well as her purse, which contained $420. There were no signs of a struggle. The money in the cash register was untouched. The girl's car was still parked outside. In other words, everything was perfectly in order, except for Jessica's absence. It seemed as if she had simply vanished into thin air. The police searched the premises and went out through the staff door to the street, where they discovered something frightening. There was a small blood stain on the concrete. The police collected a sample and sent it to the lab for analysis. It would later be confirmed that it was Jessica's blood. In addition to this, something else was found. 2 batteries and the battery compartment cover from a pistol's laser sight. During the investigation, detectives discovered that the last transaction on the cash register occurred at 10:55 p.m. Jessica had sold a lighter to a woman. The woman told detectives that Jessica was alone and seemed fine. At 11:10 p.m., a customer discovered that there was no one at the gas station and called 911, so something must have happened during that 15-minute window. But what exactly remained a mystery? After the media reported Jessica's disappearance, several witnesses came forward in the case. That evening around 11 o'clock, a couple on a motorcycle witnessed something suspicious. They reported seeing a silver minivan that slowly circled the building and, after turning off its headlights, parked by the service door. The man and woman assumed someone was about to commit a robbery, so they drove closer and started watching. They saw the driver close the trunk, but it popped open again. The man made a sudden movement, as if pushing something inside, then closed the trunk again. Then he got into the car and drove off. As the vehicle passed by the couple, they managed to get a look at the driver, but didn't have time to remember the license plate, and the minivan disappeared into the night. Something was clearly wrong. A suspicious car, parts of a pistol, a bloodstain. All of this suggested that third parties could have been involved in Jessica's disappearance. A pretty petite girl could have attracted unwanted attention from men. Jessica's friends said that men often flirted with her. The police brought a sniffer dog to the gas station, but it lost the trail at the service door, the same spot where the minivan had been parked. This meant that Jessica had been there, and possibly she was taken away in the minivan. The detectives were given the task to find that very minivan and its driver at all costs. The detectives spoke with the couple once again. They were asked about the make and model of the vehicle. The man said that, in his opinion, it was a Chrysler Town & Country, since his friend drives the same car. They also said that it was very dark outside, and they had only a couple of seconds to get a look at the person behind the wheel. But even that was enough to create a composite sketch. This is what the minivan driver looked like, according to the couple's description. Soon flyers with his image were distributed all over the area, and a real manhunt began for him. Detectives received hundreds of tips about who this person might be, but none of them led to any significant results. Law enforcement decided to check surveillance camera footage in the area. Not far from the gas station, there was a tavern with a camera installed on the outside of the building. The time on the device does not match reality and differs from the actual time. After the detectives synchronized the time, they rewound the footage. By the time the minivan had supposedly left the gas station, they noticed something interesting. The footage shows a silver minivan speeding past the tavern. It is coming from the direction of the gas station and matches the description given by the couple on the motorcycle. Having received their first clue, the detectives checked footage from other establishments. A camera at a pawn shop further down the road also captured the minivan. Unfortunately, the quality of the recording does not allow for a detailed view of the vehicle, its license plates, or the driver. The police began checking the owners of all silver minivans registered in the area and soon identified a man named Jeffrey Willis. He is 43 years old, married, and works as an assembler at a furniture factory. He has no arrests or convictions. Willis resembled the person in the composite sketch, lived in the area, and drove a silver minivan. According to witnesses, the suspicious minivan at the gas station was a Chrysler Town & Country, while Willis drove a 2006 Dodge Caravan. Notably, the Chrysler Town & Country and the Dodge Caravan are two similar minivans built on the same platform. These vehicles look very much alike on the outside. Law enforcement decided to inspect Willis's minivan, and he voluntarily allowed them to do so. However, they found nothing that could be related to Jessica's disappearance, except for one detail. Police discovered that, shortly before, the vehicle had been thoroughly cleaned. Soon another disturbing detail came to light. The detectives asked Willis where he was on the evening of April 26th. The man replied that he was at home. In reality, he was supposed to be at work that night, but at his workplace, for some reason, he never showed up. Unable to find any connection between Willis and Jessica's disappearance or grounds for arrest, the police let him go. Over the following years, no new leads emerged in the case, and it gradually became a cold case. The detectives hit a dead end. 3 years later, in 2016, the driver of the silver minivan resurfaced when he tried to abduct a young woman. She miraculously managed to jump out of the car and escape. Later, she went to the police and gave a description of the kidnapper and his car. Detectives checked surveillance cameras in the area where the abduction attempt took place. That day, one of the cameras captured a silver minivan. The vehicle resembled a Chrysler Town & Country or a Dodge Caravan. The detectives needed to determine the exact make and model. To do this, they turned to representatives from Chrysler and Dodge for help. The expert from Dodge is a designer of vehicles for that brand. He said he could easily recognize his cars, just like parents can easily recognize their child in a photograph. It took him only a couple of seconds to identify the minivan as a Dodge Caravan. The expert noted that the vehicle in the footage had black mirrors, black door handles, and black body molding. Such a combination was only installed on Dodge Caravan minivans produced between 2001 and 2007. The police checked minivans matching these parameters in the database of vehicles registered in the state, but immediately ran into a problem. The Dodge Caravan is the most popular minivan in Michigan, where there are several thousand such vehicles. Taking into account the model year and color, the search narrowed to 350. Adding the location to the criteria, there were 30 vehicles left. The police began checking their owners. However, it didn't take long to find the right one. The only owner of a unique minivan in this area was Jeffrey Willis, a man whom the police had questioned 3 years ago about the disappearance of Jessica Herring. Now law enforcement had solid grounds to believe that he was the one who tried to abduct the young woman a few days ago. Detectives showed her a photo of Willis and she confirmed that it was indeed this man who had tried to kidnap her. Soon, law enforcement obtained search warrants for Willis's property, including his car, house, and computer. During the searches, things were found that cannot be discussed or shown due to YouTube's rules. I will only mention a few things. You can find all the other information in the pinned comment under this video. For example, during the inspection of the car, a pistol was discovered. As it was later discovered, Willis had stolen it from his co-worker. She told the police that the pistol had a laser sight attached, but when the police found the weapon, the sight was missing. Let me remind you that batteries and the battery compartment cover from a laser sight were found at the gas station. Detectives questioned Willis again about Jessica's disappearance, but he denied any involvement. Lacking direct evidence against him, law enforcement presented a series of circumstantial ones. According to the investigation, at around 11 p.m., on April 26, 2013, Willis, driving his silver minivan, arrived at the gas station. As it turned out later, he was a regular customer of Jessica's and knew her. Law enforcement believes that he led the girl out of the store through the service door, struck her on the head with a pistol, and after forcing her into the car, took her to his late Dina's house, which was located 8 kilometers from the gas station. Surveillance footage shows the minivan heading north, directly toward Dina Willis's house. A ping from the mobile phone confirms that Willis made 2 calls from this house shortly after Jessica disappeared. What happened after he brought the girl home can only be guessed at. According to the investigation, Willis raped Jessica and then killed her. The police also seized his computer. Much of what was found on it cannot be shown or described due to YouTube's rules, but you can find information about it in the pinned comment. Among other things, a folder named Wix was found on the computer. This is likely an abbreviation for the word victims. Inside this folder were 2 subfolders, one of which was labeled with Jessica's initials. Inside were photos of the girl, images of missing person flyers about her, and news articles about her disappearance. During the technical examination, it was established that most of Willis's accounts were protected by the following password. The capital letters are Jessica's initials, and the numbers are a date. Since in the US the date format is different from ours, the month comes first, then the day. So it's April 27th, 2013. Jessica was abducted late in the evening. On the 26th and on the 27th, she was likely killed. Willis was found guilty of kidnapping and murdering Jessica Heringa and was sentenced to life in prison, without the possibility of parole. The most interesting thing about this story is that the girl's body was never found. Jessica's family and relatives say that the court did not provide enough evidence that Willis killed her. There is no direct evidence such as fingerprints or DNA. The court delivered its verdict based on 200 pieces of circumstantial evidence. The girl's family members still believe that Jessica is alive and hope that she will come home. In a Facebook group dedicated to Jessica, the girl's mother posted a letter addressed to her daughter. The woman writes that she does not trust the police. She does not believe that Jessica is dead. Or maybe she just doesn't want to believe it.